A man who once stood on the stage to receive the most prestigious Oscar award had, before, been forced to sell his own dog just to afford food. A heartthrob who once made thousands of girls scream his name now walks down Hollywood Boulevard in worn-out shoes unnoticed by anyone. A former child star who once appeared on millions of screens now sleeps in an old car parked beside the very star that bears his name on the sidewalk. And a man who once earned millions each year now curls up beneath a tree listening to the engines of cars he used to drive. They were once symbols' dreams, the flawless portraits of the so-called American success. But when the stage lights dimmed, their fame faded even faster than the applause. In this video, we peel away the glittering makeup of Hollywood to reveal what no one dares to say, and perhaps no one wants to believe, that the very people who once walked the red carpet hailed as legends now wander the cold streets, sleep in old cars, and take on the smallest of jobs just to survive another day. 1. Clint Eastwood, from sleeping in a car to becoming Hollywood's lone legend. The public knows him as the embodiment of the Man of Steel, the cold face, the gaze that could pierce through a gun barrel, and the gravelly voice that defined the image of the immortal cowboy in classic Hollywood. But few know that before becoming a legend, Clint Eastwood lived as a nameless drifter, sleeping in his car, showering at gas stations, and eating whatever was cheap enough to keep him alive for another day. There was no walk of fame, no red carpet, only long, silent nights with the wind whispering through cracked windows, and the dream that one day his name would light up the silver screen. In the 1950s, Los Angeles gleamed with lights, but to Clint, it was a cold and indifferent city. By day, he worked as a janitor on film sets, cleaning trash, washing dishes, carrying props. By night, he slept in an old car parked behind a gas station, pulling his coat over his head to forget the chill. Some nights, when he ran out of gas, he would push the car uphill and lie there listening to the wind whistle through broken glass. He once said, "I didn't have the money to dream. Every morning I just thought about how many coins I had left to eat." While others dreamed of Hollywood, Eastwood was trapped inside the dream of poverty. No money for rent, no friends to help, not even a decent pair of shoes. Once he showed up to an audition in his janitor's uniform, drenched in sweat. The director looked him up and down and laughed. "You're too tall, you talk too slow, and there's nothing special about you." Clint didn't respond. He just nodded, stayed silent, and memorized every insult. Those words became the fuel that would drive him for the rest of his life. For years, he lived like an invisible man, stubborn and unyielding in a city with no mercy for failure. He taught himself how to act, how to speak, and how to stay silent. He trained that icy stare that the world would one day never forget. Each night, he looked into his car's rearview mirror, practicing the look of a man who had lost everything because, in truth, he had. Then, one day, fate knocked on his door. An Italian director came to town looking for actors for a low-budget Western to be filmed in Spain. The role was called The Man with No Name, and Clint, the man who had once had nothing, found the part made for him. No name, no money, no home, no past, that was Clint Eastwood. The film, A Fistful of Dollars, changed the course of cinema and Clint's life forever. The cold face, the silent eyes, the raspy voice, and that lonely stride, Clint wasn't just playing the man with no name. He was that man, the survivor, walking through the desert, asking for nothing, needing no one. From that moment, Hollywood bowed its head. The man who once slept in a car now stood on the red carpet. The one who had been mocked now became the symbol of resilience. But Clint never forgot where he came from. While other stars drowned in alcohol, parties, and fame, he chose simplicity and solitude, living far from the spotlight. He directed his own films, produced quietly, and never chased scandals or publicity, just movies and truth. Someone once said, "If Hollywood is a storm, Clint Eastwood is the only man who learned how to walk through it. Fearless, silent, unshaken. He doesn't need to shout to be heard, nor wave his arms to be seen. He simply stands there silent, and the world goes silent with him. Now at 95, he still wakes before dawn, still reads scripts, still directs, as if afraid that if he ever stops, the light will fade forever. He wears no crown, sits on no throne, and seeks no praise. Yet he has never lost the one thing that built him the discipline of a man who once slept in a car, dreaming of having a real roof over his head. Clint Eastwood once had nothing, but with those bare hands, he molded himself into a legend. From a forgotten janitor to the last man standing in a fallen era, he is the proof that true strength is born in silence. And if Clint Eastwood represents the man who rose from nothing to own Hollywood, Then Judy Garland is the tragic reflection of that same dream, a woman who began with $1 million voice but left this world without a single cent in her pocket. 2. Judy Garland, the $1 million voice who died without a dime. She was once the voice of America, the girl standing beneath the rainbow singing of hope, making the whole world believe that happiness was real. But behind the stage lights and the roaring applause, Judy Garland was just a little girl trapped in a gilded cage with not a penny to her name. Judy stepped onto the stage at the age of 10. Her mother, known as Mama Garland, was also her manager, the one who decided everything, what she ate, what she wore, what she sang, and how much she earned. But Judy never saw a cent of it. Every dollar she made from films, records, and performances was controlled by her mother. The money went towards supporting the family, buying houses, throwing parties, and living lavishly, while Judy, the one who earned it all, didn't even have her own bank account. She worked herself to exhaustion. 18-hour filming days, sleeping pills to quiet her weary body, stimulants to wake up the next morning. The studios kept her on a tight leash, forcing her to maintain the illusion of perfection, the cheerful, energetic girl the world adored. But in truth, she had become a shadow of herself. Hollywood loved Judy, but it did not care for her. People adored her voice, but no one ever asked why there was always a trace of sorrow in her eyes, the sorrow of a child pretending to be happy so that the world could keep smiling. As she grew older, Judy began to realize everything had slipped away. Money gone, youth gone, freedom never hers to begin with. She tried to reclaim her life, but it was too late. The studios cut her contracts. The tabloids hunted her down. Every stumble she made became front-page news. Judy Garland, once the brightest star in Hollywood's sky, was now reduced to headlines, collapsed, addicted, forgotten. But people can take away fame. They can take away money. They cannot take away a voice. Judy kept singing even when she was weak, even when no one paid her what she deserved. She sang in smoky bars, in run-down theaters, places where audiences didn't come to hear music, but to watch a fallen star struggle to survive. Every time she sang, Judy still gave it everything she had. Yet behind the curtain, she sat alone, staring at her trembling hands, the same hands once called worth $1 million, now empty, not even holding a coin. In 1969, Judy Garland was found in a small rented apartment in London. No family, no manager, no one knew exactly when she had passed. The room was shabby frayed curtains, a cracked mirror, a lamp still burning softly. On the table lay a sheet of music. She had been rehearsing an old song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. She once sang about a place somewhere over the rainbow where skies are blue and dreams really do come true. But Judy never made it there. Hollywood had given her a pair of ruby slippers, but it took away the road to walk on. Judy Garland's voice once made the whole world stop and listen. And now, as she rests, the world still plays that song, as if to remind itself that behind every beautiful note may lie a soul slowly breaking. She died at 47, penniless, yet leaving behind something no amount of money could ever buy, a legacy eternal. A voice that doesn't just echo from records, but resonates in the hearts of dreamers everywhere. And perhaps somewhere over that rainbow, Judy Garland has finally found her home. When Judy Garland took her last breath in that small London apartment across the ocean, another man was just beginning his story at a train station where the dreams of the homeless were written in ink made of faith. His name was Sylvester Stallone. 3. Sylvester Stallone, the drifter who wrote The American Dream. Before he became the muscle-bound symbol of American determination, Sylvester Stallone was just another nameless man wandering the freezing streets of New York with $106 in his pocket and a screenplay no one wanted to read. In the 1970s, New York was a brutal city. Stallone went from door to door looking for work, auditioning for roles, hauling boxes, mopping floors, working security, anything that could buy him one more meal. But the rent was too high. One day, his landlord changed the locks, threw his belongings out onto the street, and Stallone officially became homeless. For 3 nights, he slept in a train station. The shriek of passing trains blended with the growl of his empty stomach, and in those moments, he asked himself, if life is a fight, do I still have the strength to last until the final bell? In his pocket were a few crumpled bills, and by his side, one loyal friend, a dog named Butkus. That dog was his family, the only soul who listened when the world turned its back on him. But hunger leaves no room for sentiment. One afternoon, Stallone was forced to do something he would never forget. He sold Butkus, the dog he loved, like blood for $40 just to buy food. As the buyer walked away, Stallone stood there, eyes wet, hands trembling. But even in that darkness, he kept writing. In a dingy rented room with a dull pen and sheer determination, he began to